Hello, guys. I'm back, and I'm back because I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow. So, a video crossed the transom, and I thought, okay, do I want to wait until Wednesday to cover this, or do I want to do it today? Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody in chat. Welcome. It's good to see you guys. And I decided, no, I don't want to wait. So I waited until Negz finished up, and now I am streaming because this is a topic that is important to me. And it should be important to you too. Hello, my love. Good to see you. So anyway, I want to point out, well, here's what happened. So this morning, I was watching Chud Logic, whose streams I enjoy sometimes, if he's talking about something I'm interested in. Thank you, Sticks. And something that he said jumped out at me. And that was, he was going over the clips that I went over yesterday in my Ethan Klein stream. And he was absolutely astonished that strangers on the internet would get to a point where they were so outraged at a complete stranger who's a content creator that they would send the authorities to that person's house. And I was listening to this guy, and I was thinking, oh, you sweet summer child. And that's the problem when you're somebody like Chud Logic and you basically cover the same, or mostly the same people over and over and over again within the same community, and you don't take a wider view. You don't take a look around. And, Chud Logic seems to be a pretty decent person, somebody who can keep the online world separate from the real world and understands that, if you've got a problem with somebody online, you should keep it online and not invade their lives and not involve the authorities. So I was listening to this, and I was getting irrationally irritated. And I hate doing that because, again, I like Chud Logic. I think that his problem is that he's a decent human being. And he's genuinely and he's also British, so I think that he's genuinely not believing that people would take it so far that they would do this. And I thought, okay. And I was dying to reach out to him. The Twitter was on the blink today. Twitter was, apparently cyber attacked by Elon Musk. Thinks it was several sources, might have even been a country. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's one community that does this. And they stalk her and they drive by her house and they take pictures and stop me when this starts to sound familiar. And I was getting more and more upset, not about Twitter, but what I was saying was, I wanted to reach out to him on Twitter and say, you need to widen your scope, Chud, because I know that a lot of the people that he covers on his channel don't have kids. He does. But you need to understand that this business of bringing in the authorities to spite your online enemies is hardly a new phenomenon. It hasn't just happened to Ethan or even one or two other people. It's quite common in multiple communities. And in fact, in this community, not my community, thank God, but in the outer lying areas, we have two confirmed CPS callers. Don't bother putting their names in chat. Both of their names are in the word filter. We have two people who routinely go after online enemies, go IRL, call the police, put in fake police reports, make fake police calls, try to ruin people's businesses, try to ruin people's reputations, and they call CPS. They go on stream and they smear and lie about people. And then when somebody hits back, the first thing they do, ring, 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 hello, police. Oh, hello, CPS. I'd like to ruin somebody's life, please, because I don't like them because they called me a name online. So, but we have two, not just one, we have two. So, I just want you to keep that in mind, that when you are in somebody's chat and you know that they have a habit of behaving this way, it is entirely up to you whether you want to stay, but you might want to ask yourself, why do you support this behavior? And they're very proud about it. They're very proud of calling CPS and trying to engage in life ruination and calling the authorities and calling the FBI and calling the police and threatening lawsuits and all of that stuff. So, it's disgusting. And I understand that people love drama and they love to, they love the give and take and they love all the, they love watching certain people drag other people. But there's a difference between dragging somebody and going IRL and trying to ruin their lives. So, and if anybody wants to know who they are, you can email me and I will let you know. Or you can DM me on Twitter. And they engage in ad hominem attacks and all of it. They lie, they contact the local authorities, the whole nine. So, in my book, there is no one lower on the totem pole than people who call the police when they haven't been threatened, when nothing has happened to them. People who call CPS, and people who constantly poke and poke and poke and poke and poke. And then when the boomerang comes back and smacks them in the face, they cry. And, all that defamation and slander and harassment and stuff, they call the police and try to ruin your life. There's nothing lower than sending CPS to the home of a person that you don't like and traumatizing their kids. There's nothing lower, shittier than that. So, I wanted to bring up this video that Ethan uploaded. Now, I've covered a lot of this ground, but that doesn't matter because I think that he did a good job of putting this video together, and I thought that we might take a look at it together and see what Ethan has gone through. And it just goes to show it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how popular you are. It doesn't matter how insulated you think you are from your online enemies. They can always get to you. And Ethan he's gone through it. He and Hila and their children. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Ethan uploaded today.
In my long career on YouTube, I've pretty much seen it all. I've been swatted several times with LAPD helicopters, the street shut down, police with guns drawn, doing a perimeter around my house. We've also been visited by the FBI 3 times. They were all to warn us of a credible threat against our lives. One time, most recently, he came at 7 a.m. and said, "Do not open any packages until you hear from me, as we have credible bomb threats against you that we found online." I thought
Okay, that was coming from a right-wing neo-Nazi. Now his main enemies are on the left. The Hassan Piker tanky left. So let's continue.
Seen it all. I knew this content nuke was going to draw a lot of negative attention, seeing how extreme Hassan and his fan base are and his orbiters. But the lengths to which they've gone to harass us and get revenge for going after their god king Hassan has frankly gone beyond any type of point of civility and humanity, to the point where they're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family. On Friday morning, an agent showed up to our house saying that they had received an anonymous tip that our children were crawling around in dog shit, eating dog shit, and contracting diseases. Not only have they called CPS on us, now they're starting to try to call in a 5150 to get me committed.
Wonderful.
It's really gone on too far, and at this point, I'm ready to take no prisoners, take the gloves off, and call out everybody who needs to be called out. The thing is, once you target my children, then a line's been crossed that cannot be walked back. Once my kids are involved, when people are targeting my children, harassing my children, there's no length that I won't go to.
Understandable.
To take care of this. And I think that's something that every parent can relate to. All these people, incidentally, who are promoting this type of insanity are, in fact, childless.
Exactly.
And will likely remain that way.
Childless, or they have children that neglect them, or they are, in our case, the people who A-log us the hardest, they are childless. Their spouses have left them. They are usually either chronically or terminally ill, overweight, lonely, usually older women, although there are a few men here and there, and unemployed. And this is all they do. And they are generally older. Now, in Ethan's case, they're generally younger. But yes, childless, or they have children that don't give them the attention that they think they deserve. Let's put it that way. Ill, overweight, lonely, angry, bitter. But yeah, there is a type. There is a type. But childless, yeah, absolutely.
CPS agent showed up and he started asking us all kinds of questions like, who feeds the kids? Who takes care of the kids? What do you do to the kids when you get angry? How do the kids sleep? Do the kids have toys? Is that what happens when you get mad, or what happens when your kids get mad? He walked around the house. He looked in our refrigerator. He walked all around looking for dog shit, apparently, although when he showed up immediately, he said, wow, this place is clean. Our 3- and 5-year-old boys were at school. Our 8-month-old is upstairs sleeping when he visits, and he says, I need to go upstairs and look at your infant visibly to see him and confirm he's okay. Well, he's napping in his crib. He goes upstairs to look around the house, to snoop around. He investigates Sonny, our youngest, wakes him up from his nap. And even though he woke him up during his nap, he was greeted immediately, actually, by a smile, because Sonny is probably the happiest baby in the entire world. He smiles at everybody. His name is Sonny because he is just a ray of sunshine. He just gave him a big smile. I mean, he's just the sweetest kid in the world. So we went back downstairs to continue the conversation, at which point he said something that both me and Hila had us both saying abso-fucking-lutely not. He said he was going to go to the children's school to interrogate them there. We both said, you are absolutely not going to ever go to their school and talk to them. That is fucking insane. We agreed that
the kids are 5 and 3. So the kids would be in what, kindergarten and preschool? And they were going to be interviewed by CPS without the parents there? No. Out of the question. Out of the question. What, they were going to have like the principal there, a teacher? No. 5 and 3. Absolutely not.
He'll come back to our house and interview our 3- and 5-year-old children at a time when they're at home, so he doesn't need to humiliate them in front of his peers, his teachers, the staff there, and, needlessly stigmatize them. My young 3- and 5-year-old children, who are sweet and innocent as can be, have not yet been interrogated by a CPS agent, but that is due to happen on Wednesday. He also spoke to our nanny, our housekeeper. He's called the pediatrician that takes care of the kids. He talked to them. Pretty much sifted through every angle of our life, having to do with our kids, in an extremely violating, insulting, unbelievable way. Just a complete breach of privacy and inhumanity that it's like you can't believe that you, as somebody who has done nothing wrong, has taken care of your kids, to be subject to this forcible investigation because of some fucking freaks online called anonymously to say that our kids are crawling around in shit.
Yeah. Hey, Ethan, imagine what it's like to have people online call and say that the child is dead. Imagine what that's like. Hang on, I need to close this door. I'll be right back. Okay.
Immediate question for me was, who did this and how am I going to hold them accountable?
Right.
It didn't take me long to catch the trail of the obvious suspect, which is the work of a subreddit dedicated to harassing me, my family, my coworkers, and their families too, frankly.
And you know what Ethan Klein is doing about it? Did you know that you could do this, by the way? Did you know that if you are being harassed day after day after day after day after day by the same accounts, whether it is on Reddit, whether it is on Twitter, any number of other social media platforms, did you know that you can get an attorney to subpoena the platform and demand that they turn over the identity of the person who is doing that? You can do that. Obviously, you have to get a lawyer to do it. You can't do it on your own. But that's what Ethan is going to be doing, because what happened was when he started saying that he was going to go after Reddit to get the identities of the mods on the snark thread, they took the snark thread down, or they privated it, or it went dark. But they opened another thread, and they named that thread in a way that makes it look like it's Ethan's thread, the H3H3 thread. So instead of H3H3 Productions, it's H3H3 _ Productions. And that's where all the defamation, the slander, the threats are going on. And the dog whistling on that thread is not to be believed. It's incredible. Because the thing is that there's nothing that you can do in this country about forums or about social media platforms where defamation is routinely spread. They're protected. And so there's nothing you can do. However, you can contact the platform and you can ask them, you can demand that they turn over the identities and the IP addresses of certain people. And that's exactly what he's planning on doing. And I hope he pursues it because he needs to teach these people a lesson. But it can be done. When the harassment gets to a point where it's beyond the pale. Like, for example, doxing family members. Like, for example, contacting local authorities. Like, for example, tagging local authorities with false accusations. Like, for example, suggesting that somebody is a neglectful parent and that, the authorities need to be brought in. Like, for example, suggesting that somebody is so crazy that they need to be put into an involuntary hold. Things like that. You can get people's identities and you can decide what it is that you're going to do at that point going forward. Now, unfortunately, the laws in this country are very, very behind when it comes to internet harassment. However, where there's a will, there's a way. And Ethan has a lot of money, and something tells me he's not backing down. And I'm cheering him on. Let's continue.
Known as snark. H3 snark is the place that they originated. If you don't know what snark is, it's this growing phenomenon of communities dedicated essentially to destroy someone's life, picking it apart, harassing them, and just trying to ruin their life.
Yep.
It's something that's become quite common on the internet. And something that Reddit, who is the main host of such activities, has completely turned a blind eye to. Take, for example, right here, H3H3 _, which is the new snark page.
Yep.
The top post on this page is from somebody named Bad Empanada, which we'll learn more about. It says, Bad Empanada with another banger. Quote, "You're the best parents I've ever seen," said house slave Abdullah Ayad to the Kleins after CPS visited them because their kids contracted parasites from dog feces.
Look at that.
The Kleins frequently advocate for genocide of Arabs while Ayad sits obediently in silence. He is a tame domestic animal.
Now this kid has really gotten a lot of criticism and a lot of abuse on that thread. He's been singled out. There are 2 people on Ethan's staff that have been singled out this way. Look at all the lies that this Bad Empanada guy posted. Now, for those of you who don't know who Bad Empanada is an Australian living in Argentina. He is a hard left, insane tanky, and one of the most notorious anti-Semites on any platform. His views rival those of Nick Fuentes, only in a lot of ways Bad Empanada is worse. And Hassan Piker was featuring some of his content because of course he was, until Bad Empanada apparently went after Hassan too, and Hassan disavowed him. Denims has posted Bad Empanada's content and repeated his accusations. And it's a problem. That's all going on over on Twitch. Anyway, let's continue.
This is just literally anyone of a normal disposition can see plainly how fucking insane this is. It has 400 upvotes after 3 hours. It's a very active sub of absolutely deranged individuals. The problem is that this subreddit, this community is being legitimized by creators such as Hassan, such as Denims, such as Mike from PA, and all these leftist commentators who think they can get one up on me. But
what's so sad is that, poor Ethan. I mean, if you're a Jew, you know how this works. You get it from the right, from the neo-Nazis, and you get it from the left too. And the people who come at you from the left, their views and their language is indistinguishable from that of the neo-Nazis. They're exactly the same. Exactly the same. But they think that they're virtuous, the ones on the left. And this is the problem. I mean, I see a lot of people say, well, it's on Reddit or it's on the forums or it's on wherever, whatever. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is that content creators who dislike someone will go on those forums and they'll cherry pick and they will repeat lies that people post. I mean, they're shit talking on these forums. They're shit talking. They don't know the people that they're talking about. They're just, sharing their views, right? It's not the New York Times. It's not the fucking Bible or the Quran or any other source of information that one would consider to be legitimate, because a lot of the information, again, it's shit talking. It's unvetted. But then creators will go to these forums and then they will repeat these things verbatim. They don't vet. They don't call the creator that's being talked about. They don't check anything. And then they go on and they defame and smear you based on information that they find on these forums. And I am saying, well, apparently his deportation has been blocked by a judge. I can tell you that I went on Facebook today and I could scarcely believe what I was seeing. People that I respect, people that I like, people I've known for years have completely lost their minds over this guy. This guy who used to work for UNRWA. This guy who was here on a green card. It's a temporary green card, right? It says permanent resident, but there's nothing permanent about a green card. When you have a green card, you're not allowed to vote. The green card can be taken away from you at any time if you break the terms and the agreements required to hold on to the green card. Being an open advocate of terrorism on U.S. soil is, I think, reason enough to deport this motherfucker. Send him back to fucking Syria or wherever it is that he came from. And that's enough. But I see people who are like, oh my God, this is so unreasonable. It's free speech. It is not free speech. It is not free speech to go out, harass, intimidate, and threaten Jewish students, to block Jewish students from going to class, to openly advocate for a terrorist, a genocidal terrorist organization. No, not when you're on a green card, not when you're visiting here, not when you're a guest in this country. So I'm hoping that Homeland Security gets him on a fucking plane and gets his ass out of here, because enough is enough.
Sicking and participating and legitimizing the most crazed psychopaths on the internet.
I bring this to YouTube
God.
because I respect the H3 snark and I believe that they're being silenced. And I saw on the H3 snark that Ethan had uploaded Instagram stories about Mika's rhetoric that says,
this guy, Adam McIntyre, is one of the biggest pieces of shit on any platform. This guy uses his youthful appearance. I mean, he's 22. He's a kid. And that wide, like Bambi-eyed look that he has, and the fact that, you know, he's just a sweet, harmless little twink, right? No, he's evil. If you go on his Twitter feed, and Twitter's back up now, and you see the stuff that he has posted about Hila Klein, you see the horrible, horrible, defamatory, evil shit that he has said about Hila, and he is really obsessed with her. He's obsessed with her in a way that is terrifying. So even though he's got that, you know, sweetest pie demeanor, he's a piece of shit. Okay, let's go.
And it's about the H3 snark subreddit. For more than a year now, Ethan has been talking about it and saying how toxic this place is, how they promote harassment, doxing, stalking, and why it should be banned.
Because I believe these snark subreddits on Reddit should be banned. It's literally fostering the most psychopathic. It encourages harassment, doxing, stalking. It's just...
I guess it's fine as long as it's not the Destiny subreddit.
I think it's time to hold all of them accountable.
Unbelievable.
Here, for example, is Denims, a.k.a. Hassan Waiting Room, watching Bad Empanada talk about the state of our house and how we take care of our kids. Let's take a look.
He lets his dogs shit all over his mansion, and he just leaves the shit on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So I would assume he doesn't actually have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And
Right.
he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it, or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something. But they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia.
It's very common.
The dog shit that is all over his house.
No, it is not true. It is not true. The baby did not contact Giardia. That is not true. And Ethan actually said so on stream, that the child did not have it. The baby had diarrhea. It's a baby. It's an infant. But that is not true. You see what happens. People post lies on a forum. Content creators pick the lies up. Then other content creators spread it around. And this is how shit gets out of control. So let's continue.
Dude, how is it that like maybe once a week I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time I manage to find more and more terrible shit.
Really?
This is where Ethan tells a story about his family getting Giardia.
We already have Mold Mondays. Now we have Shit Saturdays.
Nobody.
Also, this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe and deadly to small children. I mean, much like many other illnesses, it's very, very, very dangerous when infants get the same sicknesses that adults get. There are
And need I say this? Denims does not have children. And Denims is protected. She's in most favored nation status because she's an Arab, just like Frogan. And because Denims sits there on stream with her cleavage showing, and she's incredibly stupid, and so she gets a pass, just like Hassan gets a pass. And she's a Hassan orbiter. So, you know, she gets the benefit of the doubt and she's protected. Meanwhile, Ethan went on Twitch and he was playing his content nuke about Hassan on a loop using Hassan's own words, and he got banned for 30 days because of what Hassan said. And Hassan is not banned. Hassan is still in good standing, which is why Twitch is a fucking joke.
are lots of things that you can get as an adult. You're totally fine. You'll be A-okay. No problem. a child, a small infant that has no immune system, shouldn't be catching anything.
And the kid didn't catch anything. The kid did not have Giardia.
Now, at this point, as he continues, notice the chat is almost in complete universal agreement. Call CPS. Call child endangerment.
There we go.
CPS, social services. Bro needs to unironically call CPS. That's child endangerment. Okay, if his kids have Giardia, they need to be taken away. Actual worst father ever, etc.
There we go.
etc. I'll let the chat play for you, but you can see just how crazed this community is. And once again, this is Denham's chat. From
No,
the
she's not a
first.
doctor.
The call came on the 3rd.
No wonder his house is covered in dog shit, and his neglected children raised by nannies have contracted parasites previously unknown to science from the feces. I wonder why he skipped over all of this, because everything that I said in this story, which by the way was apparently compiled by his crew, playing.
No wonder this motherfucker's always sick. Yeah, it all makes sense now.
By the way, these people can't keep their talking points straight. On one hand, it's we don't raise our kids and our house is just run by nannies and housekeepers.
Right.
But on the other hand, we also keep our house so dirty that there's dog shit everywhere. I mean, what are the housekeepers and nannies doing?
It all makes sense now. It makes sense why he doesn't care about Palestinian children when he is neglecting his own.
There we go.
How is this happening? How is it happening? How
It's
is this
not happening. It
I
isn't.
have a 10-month-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old who are in school. Of course, I'm sick all the time. Once again, these childless people pretend that this is uncommon when, of course, anybody with any sense who's being honest. The thing is, these people are knowingly lying.
Right.
They know that they're lying. It makes no sense what they're saying, but they do it anyway. Because, as you can see in the chat, and Denham's endorses this clearly, as you can see, she's not moderating this at all. And it's pretty much 100% of the comments saying call CPS on them. The kid should be taken away. That she believes that it's justified to break up our family.
Yep.
This disgusting fucking human being.
Sounds familiar.
Who's endorsed by Hassan and the entire left community on
Absolutely.
Twitch, who is protected and elevated by Twitch, is on her platform right now advocating for our children to be forcibly removed from us by Child Protective Services.
Yes, Ethan. You know, I don't think that anybody who's watching is going to be confused as to why this story hits me so hard. I've said before, I'm not a fan of Ethan's content. I don't watch him. Okay. We don't agree on the Middle East. And I think that it is cruel to say, well, you know, he courted this audience and this is what he gets in return. I mean, I don't think that he could ever have imagined that a simple disagreement with someone he considered to be a friend, Hassan Piker, would escalate to the point where Hassan's audience and Denham's audience, it's all the same audience, would actually band together and try to interfere in his real life. I don't think he could have imagined that. He could have imagined it coming from the neo-Nazis, but he wouldn't have imagined it coming from this group, probably because he wasn't paying attention. Or maybe he thought that, you know, he and Hila, you know, being responsible people, would not be targeted that way. But they were. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic background is. It doesn't matter how responsible you are. It doesn't matter. If somebody hates you online, they will go to any lengths to try to destroy your fucking life. And I remind you yet again, we have 2 admitted out and proud, loud and proud CPS callers in the community. Again, you cannot put their names in chat because their names are in the word filter. But there are 2. There are 2, and they have been celebrated in the community. Thank you, Michael. Hello. How are you? There you go. Yep. Doesn't surprise me. Thank you for the super chat, Michael. All right. Let's go.
Denham is such an evil person. She is not responsible enough to have a platform.
No.
She should not be allowed to broadcast videos ever again. Now, you might
Yeah, there are people in this community who are like that too. People who relish in smearing and going after people and then turning around and criticize other people who do the same thing. You're no better. All of you are the same. You're all the same. If you engage in this kind of behavior, you have no right to criticize somebody else who does the same thing. I'm just saying. Let's go.
I wonder, what is it they're referring to? On the podcast, I was telling a story about we adopted a new dog about a month ago, and she was having diarrhea, which ended up being a extremely common stomach parasite that causes diarrhea. It's extremely common, and it's very easy to address. In fact, Ducky, our Yorkie, when we got him as a puppy, also had Giardia, and we treated him the same way. Let's see what I said about it. That Olive has Giardia, which is a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
And Olive has this?
Olive has this, yeah. She came to us with it.
Okay.
She had diarrhea, and
oh, poor baby.
Ducky came to us with that too. So she has Giardia, so we have her on an antibiotic, but we had to wait until Monday, which is today. We just got it today. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia. Again, any reasonable person or parent understands that having a 10-month-old that is just learning to crawl is crawling around everywhere, putting everything in his mouth. I mean, these kids will literally just lick the floor, put anything in the world in their mouth, and that's completely normal. That's what having a toddler is like. Olive is a black Labrador. She sheds a lot. She's inside. She's outside. She's very clean. But the point I'm making, again, which all reasonable people understand, is that Giardia can actually be spread just from a surface. So if her bum ends up on the floor, or she sheds some hair, or she sat on a toy, you know, it could be a number of different things. If Sonny's crawling around putting everything in his mouth, it seems like a pretty reasonable suspect. If he's having diarrhea, we're like, oh man, maybe he got Giardia from Olive, which is actually commonplace to happen. And despite what Denham says, it is not certain death. It's actually completely normal to happen, and it's very easy to treat. Now, spoiler alert, it actually turns out when we got all of the poop tests back that he never had Giardia either.
There you go.
Which I announced on the show, which they conveniently forget. So the only person that ever even had Giardia was Olive. So Sonny was having diarrhea essentially, and that was and that's why they called CPS.
There you go.
Because my 10-month-old baby, who's just starting to eat solid food, had diarrhea. That's why these people think it's justified to send an agent of one of the most overworked, underfunded, underappreciated community service workers in the entire fucking world to come and waste their time because my son had a diarrhea.
No, that's not why they sent CPS to your house, Ethan. God, I wish I could talk to this guy. I really do. That's not why they sent CPS to the house. They sent CPS to the house to throw the household into an uproar. They sent CPS to the house to upset you and Hila. And preferably, and as a special added bonus, if they had really gotten what they wanted, they would have traumatized the children. That's like the icing on the cake for these scumbags, is traumatizing the kids. That's why they sent CPS to the house. I think that they knew perfectly well that your child was not sick. They knew perfectly well that Giardia is treatable. And they did it out of spite and to get a reaction. That's why they did it. Not because they give a shit about your kids or about your family or because they're concerned about the child's welfare. These internet CPS callers are never or rarely, let's be charitable, rarely concerned about the welfare of children. All they want to do is get some revenge on the adults and traumatize the kids. They don't give a shit about child welfare. Not at all.
When in the city of Los Angeles, there are kids and families that absolutely need help from people like this. And this guy's wasting his fucking time coming to my house and doing an investigation on my kids because my 10-month-old baby had diarrhea. By the way, Bad Empanada was recently banned for 7 days for playing a video game in which you roleplay as Hamas on October 7th. And he went to a military compound in that game and said he was, quote, looking for secretaries to kill. He was looking for Ela, who was a secretary in the IDF, to murder her in
Tiffany.
a game where you play Hamas. This is the type of person that is being elevated.
I'd like to pay tribute to Ethan Klein and the new Twitch TOS that declares Zionism. Zion is the slur. I'd like to pay tribute to him by playing the first in Al-Aqsa video game where you kill Zionist soldiers as a Palestinian resistance fighter. Anyways, are these Israelis? They're just standing there? I mean, is the Israeli army a bunch of Ethan Kleins? Like, they're all on a fucking Ozempic binge? They don't understand what's going on around them? They haven't noticed me? How do I win? What's my objective? I don't actually know.
You guys want to hear something funny? So back in 2022, early 2022, after Negz and I buried the hatchet, and I started going into his streams and I joined his Discord, there was someone in his community who angrily left the community and sent him a scathing email in which that person said that they could not believe that he was befriending and welcoming a Zionist into his community. And when that person said Zionist, let me assure you that it was not used in the context in which I use it. I am a Zionist. I am a very, very proud Zionist. I've been a Zionist all my life. But the way that that person flung the word Zionist and in an accusatory fashion to try to guilt Negz into what? Telling me to fuck off? I don't know. Was very instructive. And this was a person who I had tagged as an anti-Semite quite some time ago. And I was dragged and gaslighted because of it. And I was told that I was crazy, that I was imagining things. No. The first thing that person did, the first thing was come at me for being a Zionist, which for anti-Semites is the polite way of saying a dirty fucking Jew. So to the community that is so concerned about anti-Semitism, I've seen it all. Okay? It goes back years. It goes back years. Goes back even farther than that email that was sent to Negz. Goes back to the time of Kanye West, when nobody gave a shit that Kanye West was running around being an anti-Semite. 30 million Twitter followers, which is twice as many Twitter followers as there are Jews on the entire planet. The community didn't give a fuck. And the only person who had anything to say about Kanye's meltdown on Twitter was Charlie Gold, because he had insulted George Floyd's family. That's all she had to say. So for her to come out and talk about anti-Semitism, that bitch had better keep her fucking mouth shut from now until forever. She doesn't care. Neither does anybody else in the community. Unless, of course, it's an insult or it's an accusation they can hurl at people that they don't like. They don't care about Jews. They don't protect their Jewish subscribers. They don't give a shit about Jews. Trust me, I know. I've known for years. For years. So, this bad empanada guy, I've seen his like before, only they're fat cat ladies in girl world or content creators. So yeah, I bin you. I bin you.
Where do they keep the secretaries? In here? I'm hunting for secretaries right now. Secretary Dot, on behalf of Ethan Klein, I give this game my seal of approval.
Here's Bad Empanada once again, who posted a story saying, I'm the one who called CPS on Ethan Klein. I want CPS to take his kids away because they are seriously in danger.
I want you to take into account the kind of person, he's probably lying, but let's just say he's telling the truth. I want you to take into account the kind of person who openly boasts about calling the police and calling CPS on complete strangers online who have never done anything to them. And the next time that you are in a stream and you hear somebody boasting about calling CPS, tuck it away. You make a decision whether or not you want to stay in that community. I don't hang around with people who abuse the authorities and lie to the authorities. But let's continue.
Is, once again, Bad Empanada, who's being elevated by Hassan, Matt Lieb, Denims, and tons of creators, leftist creators, all over the internet.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone else, please welcome Bad Empanada.
Bad Empanada's been going crazy at Ethan on the second channel. Well, yeah, because Ethan Klein is too afraid to talk to Bad Empanada or talk about Bad Empanada or watch any of his videos. So fucking milk that guy, dude. Hell yeah, Bad Empanada, go in.
Can we just like
This dude, Bad Empanada. I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Yep,
He's like actually psychotic, and
he is.
he's been making a lot of hate videos about me and calling Ela a terrorist and baby killer and all.
Dude, every time Ethan Klein brings up Bad Empanada, I like him a little bit more.
Of course you do.
That's the truth.
Of course you do, Denims, because you too are a fucking anti-Semite. You're an anti-Semite, and you get away with it because you're incredibly stupid and people don't take you seriously, and because you've got a pretty face and you have your tits out, and you use your Arab heritage as a get out of jail free card. But if she was on the hard right, imagine what the critique would be. But her verbiage and her language is indistinguishable from Nick Fuentes, from Andrew Anglin, and from all those scumbags. They're exactly the same. They're two sides of the same coin.
I didn't really have strong opinions on him. And every time he brings him up, I'm like, stop making him sound base, man. Come on. Stop.
Bad Empanada has put out a video about H3H3, and this is just for my own pleasure that we're going to watch it. Because whenever Bad Empanada attacks H3H3, H3H3 has like a mental breakdown. And every time I watch this, it causes them to have even more of a mental breakdown.
On this Turk versus moron, he made a fucking Willie Mac show. Slob YouTube Willie Mac show made a video covering the Gaza genocide because he noticed that putting Hassan's name in the title gets him more views than usual. It went about as well as you'd expect. Oh, dude. Okay. Okay. Critical support to Bad Empanada has gone up by wide margins now. Okay. Oh, this is on the Bad Empanada live channel. He didn't put this on the normal channel. Oh, my Lord. Oh, dude. Bad Empanada went from bad to good Empanada.
Oh.
Bad Empanada went from Bad Empanada to based Empanada.
Right.
Now, trust me, I would pursue legal action against Bad Empanada, whose MO is essentially defamation. He actually fled to Argentina like his Nazi predecessors. And unfortunately, it is very difficult to get to and sue people in Argentina. So enjoy the community of Nazi refugees. You will fit right in there, my friend.
That's
but
right.
Don't worry, guys. Denim says, even if this did happen, it's nothing to worry about because children actually don't remember anything.
This is amazing.
Isn't that fucking awesome? Look at this. It might be the dumbest, most pathetic thing I've ever heard in my life. Here's Denims.
On the floor. And then the part that, in my opinion, crossed the line was like, so I'm going to visit your kids at school and ask them questions. And I says, you're not fucking doing that.
No,
I mean, we both were like, that's not happening. You're not going.
Terrifying.
You are not doing that. So he agreed to come visit our house.
Yeah, Rachel, my understanding is that Bad Empanada has been in Argentina for quite some time. So
Next week. When the kids are at home, because he needs to fucking interview our kids as a matter of procedure.
But I was like, I really don't want you to create any bad memory here for them. Like, they are 5 and 3. They don't understand this shit. So I told him.
Create any bad memory for them. You're not forming memories at 3 years old.
Yes,
and
you
it's
are.
very rare that you're forming memories at 5 years old.
That's bullshit. That's not true.
Nah, yes, you are. No, you're not.
Yes, you are.
When we're talking about being able to remember, being able to recall memories, it's like 4 is the cutoff. But even if you are forming any memories at 4, you're not going to be able to remember them past like 15.
That is absolutely and completely false. I have 2 memories from childhood from when I was very, very young. One when I was 3 years old, and the more vivid one was the moon landing. I was 4 years old when the astronauts landed on the moon. And my mother brought me down from my room and put me in front of the TV so I could watch it. And I remember all of it. So, again, not a parent, not a memory specialist, not particularly well educated, just a fucking raging anti-Semite is what Denims is.
You have maybe 1 or 2 memories. Talking to a random stranger once isn't really memorable for a kid. There's a wide variation across about the mean across methods, cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.5 years old.
Exactly, Michael.
You're not really forming memories at 3.
You just read out of your mouth that the average adult starts forming memories at 3.
Yep.
What is happening? What universe do we exist in where this is a popular creator? One more time, guys, because it's absolutely fucking unreal. One more time,
it is unreal.
Guys.
There's a wide variation across about the mean across methods, cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.5 years old. You're not really forming memories at 3.
She just read it.
And it's pretty rare to be forming memories or like memories that you will keep like at 5.
Amazing.
How exactly am I supposed to get through to a person and convince
You
her
can't.
wrong when she's literally disproving herself on her own stream and then ignoring what just came out of her mouth 5 seconds earlier? Her defense for sending the CPS to break up our family and to interrogate our 3 and 5-year-old is that, don't worry, kids don't remember stuff.
Exactly.
Which just also, besides being pathetically, sociopathically insane not to care about the well-being of kids, just demonstrably false. Everybody knows that the most formative years of a child's life is around that age of 4, 5, 6, 7, when kids really take in their environment and develop who they become as people. Pretending as if interrogating my 3 and 5-year-old sons couldn't possibly cause any damage because they can't remember is the most insane, monstrous thing I can even imagine somebody to say about this. And it's just beyond being insanely dumb. It's just callous,
evil,
pathetic,
evil,
and, well, really speaks for itself. It's the dumbest thing I think I have ever heard. Now, moving to Reddit, this whole theme of needing to call CPS on my kids is something that takes place on Reddit, originally from a subreddit called H3 Snark. On this subreddit, they have doxed us, harassed our employees, our Teddy Fresh employees who are not even related to the show, gone after crew members' parents, my parents.
Sounds familiar.
Basically, in every conceivable way that you can be harassed, these people have done it. Actually, the subreddit was closed indeed. However, not by Reddit. According to Reddit, this subreddit is still fully open and operational and is committing breaking no rules. What actually happened is that somebody within their community started informing on them. And we have these screenshots, which I have not shown before, but I'll show them to you now. Here, one of the mods is talking about a person named Sturgeon, which is also a co-mod. And here they say, Adi explained to me that Sturgeon had made a fake post, the quote Ramadan post, and had become more and more unhinged. Here the mods are talking about another fellow moderator of theirs and actively covering up the fact that their mod faked a post on the H3 Snark subreddit. What happened was this story got picked up that we were banning people wishing a happy Ramadan. We were removing the posts and banning them. And this whole narrative of me being Islamophobic started forming on their subreddit and getting picked up by shit tier content creators who don't.
Of course, because that's the next step. You're accused of being an ist, a phobe, something like that. As night follows day. Whatever they can throw at the wall and see what sticks. And get people to torture your family, your employees, try to get your kids taken away, try to interfere with your business. Again, reminder, there are 2 loud and proud CPS callers in the community by their own admission. Not an accusation, not pulled out of thin air. And they brag about it. So just keep that in mind as you listen to what this man has gone through.
give a fuck about anything. And we look through our mod mail. We searched through it to see.
I did, Tiffany.
Well, this post, was it ever made? Because that's certainly not something we would ever do. And sure enough, there's zero record of it. It was completely fabricated. And when we said that it was completely fabricated, surprise, surprise, the person who posted it erased their account and erased the thread and completely disappeared. Yet the rumor continued to persist on their subreddit. It was never moderated. In fact, it was completely covered up by the mod team of H3 Snark. Here they are. Here's the mods doxing our office. Yes, this is actually a real screenshot. Hi, I know you're on break, so I'll just drop this info here in case you need it in the future. We found the H3 studio and Teddy Fresh actual address. On the right is H3, on the left is TF. Studio listing, here's the link. It's identical to the H3. Here's their address. This is fucking insane. These are the moderators. This isn't even like the community members. These are the people running the fucking subreddit. These people are knowingly putting us and employees in danger by sharing this address with each other with malicious intent. So once I started discussing that we had an informant in their ranks that was sending me this kinds of stuff, surprise, surprise, the moderators deleted their accounts and voluntarily closed the subreddit. Fascinating. After H3 Snark closed down, all the users migrated to another subreddit, H3H3_productions. And if you can believe it, the H3H3_productions subreddit is actually even more insane because there's no active moderators.
There's no moderation.
I encourage you guys just to hop on over to H3H3_productions and just look through it. Read the comments, look through the posts. You're not going to believe what you see there. And if you want to take a walk through memory lane, go over to H3 Snark 2 and see what the posts that are left up there. And
there's no way that I'm going to wade through that landfill, but I was watching a little bit of Nicholas Diorio's stream earlier, and he posted screenshots, and it was bad. It's really bad. It's getting worse. And I understand when people like ChudLogic and others say, well, you know, he's feeding the trolls and Ethan should just move on and all that. The problem is that even if you move on, they don't leave you alone. They keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. Even if you leave the internet, they won't leave you alone. So I think that Ethan's videos have been really instructive. And I think that the people who are saying that he's overreacting are retarded. And the people who are criticizing him for responding to these gross invasions of privacy and these intrusions into his family and his business, and the slander being directed at his wife, they don't get it. They haven't been through it. They don't understand what it's like.
Enjoy. Just to give you an idea about the CPS thing, here's an excerpt from the new Snark page, an exchange of great minds. All I know is that the more he's fucked with, the less he pushes Israeli propaganda. Therefore, I can only conclude that it is a good thing and that it must continue. The ethics of it mean absolutely nothing to me.
There we go. You see, I want you guys to read this. All I know is the more he's fucked with, the less he pushes Israeli propaganda. Therefore, I can only conclude that it is a good thing and that it must continue. The ethics of it mean absolutely nothing to me. And the response is, you summarized it pretty well. Yep. Is Palestine free yet? I haven't figured that out. Tiffany, if you wouldn't mind posting the names of those content creators that you mentioned, I would be very interested to take a look at their content. There's a guy who makes that kind of content in New York City, and he's really, really good. Of course, his name escapes me right now, but if you could post that in chat, that would be really cool. And I'll definitely take a look at that because it's very interesting. And I saw that a member of Hamas, a Palestinian who had been vlogging his trek across Europe and then crossed the channel in a small boat and entered the UK, has caused quite a fuss because people are like, wait a minute, you know, we know who this guy is. How was he allowed into the country? And now we don't know where the fuck he is. So what is going on? So yeah, I'd love to do a stream about that. That's a great topic. So you see, there is absolutely there's not even any pretending that anybody gives a shit about the kids, right? It's all political. That's all they care about. They want to ruin Ethan and Hila's life, and they want to traumatize their children and frighten their employees, scare them off, get them to quit, frighten people who might be inclined to come forward to support Ethan and Hila. And basically, it's a warning shot. It's like you come out and you support them, or you protect them, or you defend them, and you're going to get the same treatment. It's terrifying. They're trying to isolate them.
Response, you summarized it pretty much. Now, this is all taking place on Reddit. Active brigading harassment to the actual point of trying to break up our family and call CPS. Has Reddit done anything? Despite us complaining, making noise, reaching out for the past 2 years about this snark community? Worse. I believe, and I will show you why, that Reddit is colluding with, protecting with the moderators of this snark community. I believe that there's admins that work inside of Reddit that are members of this community and actively protecting it. I will show you my evidence. The first thing is that Hila works with a management company who has a connection to Reddit community managers. We first went through them, an official channel, to say, hey, this snark is out of control. They're harassing us all. They're definitely violating your site rules. Can you look into it?
I just subscribed to DJE Media. Thank you, Tiffany. I'll be taking a look at that person's content later.
Later, guess what? The snark page was permanently closed. Hooray, we said. That was awesome. All we needed was one person to take a look at it, and obviously it wasn't compliant with the rules. Well, 3 days later, the snark page was reinstated fully, and they made this post to celebrate. H3 mod announcement. We're back after a much needed break. We are just a group of volunteers and we appreciate your patience. Our relationship with Reddit is currently better than ever, and we're in good communication with the admins. Now, that to me stood out quite tremendously, considering that our subreddit was 600,000 users. The second biggest podcast subreddit on the entire site behind Joe Rogan has never had contact with admins. They have never reached out to us. But why is it that the admins are in constant contact with this small niche subreddit dedicated to harassing people? But we, one of the biggest subreddits on the website, have not heard a single word from them ever. When someone created a snark page dedicated to Hassan Piker, it was immediately deleted for harassment.
Amazing.
The subreddit was banned due to a violation of Reddit's content policy against harassing content.
Amazing.
So it's harassing when it happens to Hassan Piker, but it's okay, great behavior when it happens to Ethan Klein.
And Hassan Piker does not have children.
What's with the double standard? What about Trisha? Trishyland was a huge snark subreddit. It was super active, and these people were, really nasty. Trishyland was also banned. The reason given is this subreddit has been banned for excessive copyright removals. Now, that's specifically interesting and extremely suspect, considering we've performed dozens of copyright strikes on the snark subreddit. We have removed dozens of posts. All the posts we removed had zero commentary or specifically stated that their intention was to steal and siphon views from our property. Besides being granted dozens of DMCA takedowns, Reddit has actually had the nerve to serve us counter notifications on these, or to downright reject dozens and dozens of legitimate DMCA requests outright. Now,
Okay, so obviously it appears that Reddit is as bad as Twitch. And there's favoritism. And there's something very, very fishy and weird going on at Reddit. Just like there is at Twitch. Only Twitch doesn't hide it. Twitch makes it obvious that that's what they're doing with their coddling of Hassan. And the fact that they allow Denims and Frogan to stay on the platform. It's so obvious. So obvious.
The fuck does Trisha get her subreddit removed for copyright infringement? Meanwhile, when I try to do DMCA takedowns on the subreddit, they literally get denied by Reddit. It's my opinion that the stated reason of repeated copyright infringement is a total cover-up. Listen to Trisha in her own words describe how she got her snark permanently banned from Reddit.
It's like one of the downsides about being online, I'm sure, and then when you become a mom, I'm curious about how you're seeing and feeling about, if you don't mind. Yeah, you don't have to answer this, but like it's one thing for you to like insult me or like the work I've done or me leaning into nostalgia, but it's another thing that if you bring my kids into it, like I'm gonna throw hands.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you how sick and fucking tired I am of incredible, and I'm not talking about this girl. I don't know who she is. This is not directed at her at all, okay? Can I just tell you how sick and fucking tired I am of women who are deeply unhappy, lonely, sick, sad, abandoned, really, whose only claim to fame, who the only thing that they can hold over somebody else is the fact that they have birthed children. And who make it abundantly clear that they believe that step-parents, foster parents, adoptive parents are not actual parents. They're not real parents. That the only legitimate way to be a parent is for the child to share your DNA. Can I just say that these predominantly women who like to attack other women for their infertility or whatever are disgusting. You're sick. You're sick. I know that there's been a lot of attention being paid to Jordy, and, you know, it sucks when men do it, but when women do it, it really hurts. I don't give a shit what a gay man has to say about my inability to have kids. I don't care, because they can't have, they can't give birth to children either. I mean, they can father children, but they can't give birth to them. But when women do it, it is an indication of a very, very sick, unhappy mind. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
And
It's
I'm
a
going
whole
to
different thing.
find your profile. I'm not just going to block it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
Dude,
God.
I found him. I did a whole documentary on Reddit. I had a horrible snark Reddit that was like posting pictures of her.
Why does she look
her
like that?
doctor, like all this stuff like that, like just making fun of her, like showing where her future schools would be.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. So I did a whole documentary. I had a whole crew come out. It was like a month process. And I did this whole documentary. I like hired a private investigator.
So like you
found
did a
everybody.
troll hunter.
Yeah.
like,
1,000%.
documentary.
1,000%. And ultimately, I don't even know if it'll come out because it worked now. All my snark Reddits are taken down. The minute one is created, it gets taken down within 20 minutes.
They're like, yeah, we don't fuck
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I called Reddit. I went on this like website to get everybody who worked at like Reddit. I like said, this is.
I've done all of that and more over a longer period of time, 2 years, with escalating levels of harassment. Why was it that Trisha and Hassan's were taken down, but mine remains up?
Good question.
Why did Reddit list the reason as copyright infringement when the actual reason was harassment, as explained by Trisha? By the way, the DMCAs are written by my attorney. It's not even some like ragtag bullshit where I do it myself. My attorney writes it out, well-reasoned, well-sourced, and Reddit ignores it. How is that possible?
Good question.
This is one of my favorite examples. We made a subreddit called Snark to make fun of snark subreddits in general. And the community was actually starting to pick up steam and become pretty active. Well, it was removed. Why was it removed?
Oh.
For harassment.
Oh.
But wait,
Got it.
gets even better. A few days later, maybe a week later, it's back open. And the moderator now that owns the subreddit is a user named Shredder Cheese, which is a mod for H3 Snark. Shredder Cheese is a reference to a story they love to tell about
his
how
dog.
I killed my beloved dog Shredder by feeding him cheese. The mod for H3 Snark named Shredder Cheese is now the owner of Snark.
Wow. How did that happen?
Elias?
How?
I would also like to know, how the fuck is that possible? What the fuck is going on? Of all
Good
the
question.
harassing posts on the new Snark, the reports are being denied. Now, let me show you an example of one of the posts, just one of many, that Reddit refused to remove. The title is, I'm calling CPS on Ethan again. It says this time because his kids are around Zionists, which is a high predictor for baby murder.
Okay, I want you to take a look at that.
I'm calling CPS on Ethan again. It says this time because his kids are around Zionists, which is a high predictor for baby.
Okay, you see what I mean? You see what I mean? When that person left Negz's community in a huff and said that they couldn't, stand to share a space with a Zionist, or they couldn't believe that Negz was coddling a Zionist, you think I didn't know what the fuck that meant? You think I didn't know what that was about? And I have had so many people in the community gaslight me when I've come out and said, this one is a Jew hater, that one is a Jew hater. And they're like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? This person is the salt of the earth. This person is so pleasant in chat and whatever. I told you. I told you. And this is what I'm talking about. In this context, it's another way of saying dirty Jew. When I call myself a Zionist, it's because I'm proud of what I am. And because that indicates a certain political belief that I have. When a Goy does it, or an Arab, or somebody like that does it, and they call me a Zionist, you think I don't know what the fuck they're saying? And then I've got a bunch of Goyim who are all Goy-splaining to me how I'm the one who's crazy. I'm the one who's intolerant. I'm the one who's a bigot. No. Those days are over, by the way. Those days are fucking over. You want to come at me? You come fucking correct, because I've had a year and a half of this shit, and it goes back all the way to the Kanye situation, where not a single person came out and spoke out against Kanye West. Kanye West, who's now prancing around in public in a swastika t-shirt. But yeah, tell me that I'm crazy. Tell me that I'm the problem. Yeah, go ahead. Let's go.
Baby murder. This is a post that is still up on this subreddit that was reported, and Reddit admins reviewed this and said, no, this is compliant.
Mm-hmm.
In closing,
Amazing.
Let's take a look at Reddit's #1 rule for using their site. #1 rule. Remember the human. Reddit is a place for creating community and belonging, not for attacking marginalized or vulnerable groups of people. Everyone has a right to use Reddit free of harassment, bullying, and threats of violence. Communities and users that incite violence or promote hate based on identity or vulnerability will be banned. This post does not violate rule #1.
Amazing.
According to people that work at Reddit and have reviewed it manually.
Yep.
At first, I thought it was crazy. I was like, there's no way Reddit is actually colluding to protect them. But after 2 years passed and the shit just keeps piling up, there's literally no other conclusion that could explain this. In my content nuke, I explore the idea that Twitch has been ideologically captured.
100%.
And the people in that company are using their terms of service selectively as a form of activism.
Yep.
They come down hard against people that they disagree with politically.
Yep.
And they ignore, protect, elevate the people that they do agree
That's
with
right.
politically.
We all know
happened
that.
recently that's going to blow your mind. I started running reruns of Content Nuke on my Twitch channel as a form of protest, being petty, honestly, and just wanting people on Twitch to see the video I made. Well, wouldn't you know it, if on the same day we launched it, our stream was closed for 30 days. We got a suspension for 30 days.
30
That's
days.
pretty severe. What is it that we did wrong? Encouraging or glorifying extreme violence.
And you know, in that content nuke, he was playing Hassan Piker's words. It was one clip of Hassan after another after another. And Ethan got a 30-day ban for playing Hassan Piker's words while Hassan Piker is sitting pretty on Twitch. This is why I will never go on Twitch. Not ever. Not ever. I would last probably 5 minutes on that disgusting garbage platform.
So, to get this straight, my video showing Hassan supporting terrorism got me a 30-day ban for
Sure
encouraging
did.
and glorifying extreme violence. Hassan's footage of him doing it on their platform and actually encouraging terrorism. No punishment.
Nope.
How the fuck can you be this blatantly, pathetically obvious? They don't care.
No.
Nothing's changing. They don't care. They're spitting in our fucking face. They're flaunting it. They don't give a fuck.
And you know what's weird about that is Twitch is owned by Amazon. And Jeff Bezos recently made an announcement that he is going to be featuring more conservative voices at the Washington Post. So how can Jeff Bezos, who owns Twitch and the Washington Post, how can he advocate for a more, balanced, let's say, more balanced news coverage, let's say on the editorial page? I think that he was specifically referring to the editorial page, while allowing Twitch to become a cesspool of terror-supporting, anti-Semitic, anti-American, content. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Propping up Hassan Piker, who has featured actual terrorists and terrorist propaganda on his channel. It is a frightening time to live in the United States. It is a frightening time to be here. Not where I live now. I'm perfectly safe here in terms of, my surroundings and the people I live around. But I can't imagine what it would be like to live in New York or Chicago or Portland. Well, I'd never live in Portland, or, Austin or Los Angeles or Miami or any university town, Providence, Rhode Island, Boston. I would be scared to death. Scared to death. In my own country. It's a terrible feeling.
I got banned for 30 days for showing his content that he wasn't punished for. Make it make sense. And, people go, oh, it's automated. It was probably a mistake. Well, fair enough, right? And that's why I appealed it. And within a few hours, I got the answer on the appeal. Your account was recently suspended for encouraging or glorifying extreme violence.
Amazing.
A member of our team has reviewed your appeal, and after taking a look into the details of your case, we have determined that your account will remain suspended due to your violation of our community guidelines.
Amazing. Amazing. Really?
I have never been so black-pilled in my life.
Good.
I feel like I am trapped and that the world has gone fucking insane. This shit is bananas. What is happening? And I feel that I'm getting the same treatment now from Reddit. Now, I know they're both San Francisco-based tech companies, but did you know that these two companies in San Francisco, their headquarters are blocks away from each other? It's just interesting. It's just interesting because it shows there's some culture happening in this tech space. I think that
no
these people
fucking
are all
kidding.
very similar-minded. I think
Yes.
that's what this is telling me. Because you got to fit in. If you're going to work at one of these tech companies, you got to fall in line. You know what I mean? You got to be one of the good guys.
Yep.
Actually, I found out that our stream got suspended for 30 days live on the podcast.
Because it's your account. Oh, your account is currently suspended. To view more information about your
Here, I got
enforcement,
it.
file an appeal. Okay.
Oh my God! It got banned for encouraging or glorifying extreme violence.
Whoa.
That's fucking.
Wow.
That's Hassan's content that's on your platform. That
That's
you
right.
didn't get in trouble for.
That's right.
Holy fuck!
How
Okay,
long
that's
is the ban?
pretty
it should
cut
be
and
only a day ban, right? In theory.
Wow.
In theory, it should be no ban because it's his content.
Guys, I got a 30-day ban.
30 days?
30-day, and I didn't even say 30-day ban. I mean, it was worth it to do this just for this. I'm surprised that they're this pathetic.
Yeah, because
Hey, Ethan. Ethan. This is why you never bend the knee to these people. This is why when they keep on demanding more and more from you, you say no. This is why when they move the goalposts, you tell them to fuck off. This is why when they come after you, because you're no longer one of the good ones. And therefore, not only are you not deserving of protection, respect, being treated with some semblance of dignity, but now you've got a target on your back. I warned you. I warned you. And I'm warning all the Jewish people watching now and Jewish content creators. You're next. You're next. You try to toe the line. You try to be respectful. You try to pretend that you can see both sides. And guess what happens? They'll come after you anyway. That's why I am very, very, very hard-lined on Israel. And I make no fucking apologies for it. And if that means I'm not one of the good ones, good. I was watching the anti-Semitism hearing that took place in the Senate the other day. Do you think it makes me happy to sit here as a lifelong Democrat and say, thank God for Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, and John Kennedy? It is galling. The behavior of the Democrats on that committee, the ones that bothered to show up, the Dick Durbins, for example, was unbelievable. There were, I think, there were 4 or 5 witnesses, 2 of whom were out and out capos. And I'm sitting there watching them, and all they wanted to talk about was Trump defunding the Justice Department's Office of Civil Rights, which is about as useless as tits on a fucking bull, because they don't enforce civil rights law equally. It was the same way at my agency, at Voice of America. They would only take up cases that they felt were worthy. If you were Jewish, forget it. If you were white, forget it. If you were the only white person on a staff of all, I'm using this as an example. I'm not saying that this happened. If you worked with nothing but Burmese, Chinese, Vietnamese, Bangladeshi, whatever people, and they were discriminating against you and you went to complain, guess what would happen? They'd kick you out of the office. They didn't want to hear from you. I went to the head of the agency once to complain about the overt anti-Semitic attacks that I had been the target of when I worked with a certain group of people. And the head of the agency said to me, well, that's their culture. What do you expect? And my response was, what I expect is that I'm an American fucking citizen, and I expect American laws to be upheld and protect me as much as they protect these people that you brought in from overseas, who are not American citizens, who appear to have more rights than I do. That was eye-opening. That was very eye-opening. And yeah, goddammit, I'm going to speak out on it. Absolutely. I don't give a shit about the Office of Civil Rights at the Justice Department. What a useless collection of losers. What I care about is that these Jewish students are protected on campus. And I sat there and I listened to these capos. And they were like, oh, well, we've coordinated with J Street, which is useless, and the ADL, useless, and blah, 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 and they don't agree. Because who was it who asked one of them? It was Josh Hawley, asked a very simple question. Do you think that foreign students who engage in supporting terrorism or violence or whatever on campus should be deported? And this guy was caught completely off guard. Well, that's not part of our, fucking bullet point list or whatever. Why not? Why not? Why? We don't want to be the UK. We don't want to import people into this country that break the law. So anyway, let's finish up.
I genuinely am too.
That's a manual ban too.
Now, after our appeal was denied, the story started to go viral for its blatant, obvious, laughably absurd hypocrisy, at which point they panicked and unbanned our stream with an apology. We're so sorry for the inconvenience.
Amazing.
We made the wrong decision. Well, somebody made the wrong decision manually twice. You want to fucking explain that shit? So here we are, where it's acceptable to call child protective services on people as an act of political protest.
Right.
On a website, Reddit, in which they do not care. They protect it. They enable it.
Yep.
I have a meeting with CPS on Wednesday where they're going to talk to my fucking children. Twitch is banning us for showing Hassan promoting terrorism. Ban me for 30 days.
Yep.
No punishment for him. What the fuck is going on?
I'll tell you what's going on.
CPS agents to talk to our children. I wonder, at what point has this gone too far? And how much worse can it get before something is done about it?
It will get worse. It will get worse. I promise you, because it always does get worse. I am not going to sit here and dance, a victory dance and say, I told you so, even though I've been saying I told you so. I know I'm bad about that. I'm glad that Ethan's eyes are opened. I hope that he now starts leaning more into who he is, being proud of his wife and who she is. Stop fucking apologizing for who you are and face the reality. And I think that slowly but surely, Ethan is going to get there, just like many of us did after October 7th. You're going to open your eyes and you're going to realize that these hard leftist tankies that were in your community are garbage. They're dangerous. They're very, very dangerous. The majority of them are anti-Semites. They don't like you. You put one foot wrong, they turn on you as a mob, and they come after your family. That's step number one, do not pass go. My heart aches for the Kleins. It does. And I'm not saying that ironically or anything like that. I'm saying that genuinely because it is a terrible feeling to be under assault by internet strangers. It's a terrible feeling. And I hope that he straightens this out. I'm sure that the CPS thing will go away. I mean, there's no reason to keep on tormenting Ethan Klein. However, he is going to, I don't know what he's going to have to do. I don't know what he's going to have to do, but I know that these people are fanatics. They're crazy. And they're not going to stop. And that makes me sad because it's the children that are going to suffer. When it's a terrible feeling to feel like you're under siege from strangers. So, anyway, that video, when I watched it, I didn't watch the whole thing, but what I did watch hurt me. It hurt my heart. So I thought I would share it with you guys. Guys, I will not be streaming tomorrow. So that's why I did 2 streams today. And I will be joining you again, I guess, on Wednesday, right? And for now, I'm going to say good night. Thank you for being here. Please do sub if you're not subbed already. And I will see you guys the next time. Thank you all for being here, and I'll see you then.